Okay, I'm putting on a little microphone. Is this gonna work? Maybe I'm making this like a little too complicated. I don't think the camera's level. Oh, I gotta fix that. That is going to bother me. I just wanted to sit on the couch and say a little hello. Cue up Hannah Montana, you'll always find your way back home. I was just missing YouTube, and I honestly didn't really have a game plan for today's video. I just feel like I've been so blessed in my life that ever since I started posting videos at 16 years old, I was always making the type of videos that I would be watching. Like, I was my demographic. And in so many ways, I was able to trust my own interests to guide a lot of the videos that I was making. And I still feel that way. I don't know, it's kind of funny. Like, I'm 26 now, and I feel like I watch YouTube videos when I eat my meals. Like, I can't eat my meal if my YouTube video isn't playing. Or I'll have like an hour-long podcast going on the TV while I clean my place. Or like, I feel like the way that I watch videos is like different now in a way. Anyways, it hit me in the middle of the night and I was like, I just want to sit and talk. And you know, it's been a few months. Whenever I haven't made a YouTube video in a while, I can like feel it. I'm like itching. I just feel like I'm missing something. I also feel like the classic story of like any content creator becomes successful and then they like leave the platform that like made them so popular. Not that I'm like on that level or anything, but I don't ever want to like forget what one initially sparked me joy when I was like 16. Like, making a YouTube video was like the most exciting and giddy thing, and I would plan it out for days, and I like never want to lose the charm of that and like the allure that like really brought me into this entire world. Oh my gosh, I feel like I have a lisp. But guys, I'm in the process of getting my my 2 veneers. I've got 2 like fake teeth here. I'm in the process of getting them redone, so I've got 2 temporaries in, but they feel so bizarre, and I feel like I've got like a bit of a, like I'm whistling a bit when I talk. All that to say, I woke up in the middle of the night and I started like jotting down ideas in my notes app, because if you know, everything goes down in the notes app. In classic, like typical Jaclyn type A personality styles, like I want to sit down and like prep what I want to talk about. And I'm like, you know what, screw it. Like, I feel like in the same way that when I'm going to have a convo with my BFF, I'm not like pre-planning what to say. That's what I want this video to feel like. So I have some guiding topics though that I did want to reference, but I haven't like reviewed them or anything since I wrote this at 3:31 in the morning. That's when like my best ideas hit me. I was like laying in bed. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to do this. I want to make a video talking about this. And then it like sparked 10 other spin-off ideas. Anyways, I've been doing a lot of thinking lately because this month I hit my 10-year vegan anniversary, which is so insane. When I was 15, 16, I decided to go plant-based and like discovering even what like eating vegan meant. And it like honestly became a huge part of my identity at that age. And I'm honestly so grateful for that entire experience. Like, I was vegetarian first, and it's funny, like I think I saw like a Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen video or like a movie. It was there was like a Survivor themed one. If you've seen it, you'll just know what I'm talking about. It was like a Survivor Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen episode. The one of them, I think, let's say Ashley was vegetarian in it, and they like hand over, they all have burgers, and they like take out the patty and they give her like the lettuce and the bun. And I always as a kid knew what the word vegetarian meant, and it meant like not eating meat. And I don't know if it was from that moment, like if that truly impacted me, or if I don't want to say intuitively, like in grade 3, knew that I didn't want to eat meat, but it was always something as a kid that I was like fighting my parents on, and I was like, I don't want to eat meat. And like at the time, my parents just obviously wanted me to be like healthy and eat a balanced, you know, diet, and they're like, oh, I don't know if that's good, and you've got to wait until you grow up. And they just like didn't fully obviously understand it, which is funny now because my mom is vegan as well. But that was always like the battle at the dinner table growing up, is that I never wanted to eat meat. I owe a lot of my influence to Lauren Toyota, aka Hot for Food on here, and she was a VJ at Much Music at the time, which that was everything I wanted to be. And I saw on Instagram, she was like hashtagging what I eat in a day vegan, and I was like, what's vegan? Like, I didn't even know what that word was, and I remember Googling it, and I was like, wait, you don't eat milk and eggs, and like that's in everything. Like, I didn't understand it fully. At the beginning too, I think I was really just trying to like grasp the concept of like the food portion of like veganism, and then, you know, you dive into everything else and you're like, it's everything in my life. And anyways, that became like this huge discovery for me. And it was also at that time on the internet when there was, this is a whole other topic. It was like the raw vegan, fruitarian, raw till 4 era. And it seemed like everyone, whether in the food space or just like beauty community or lifestyle, seemingly somehow everyone I was watching was somehow talking about raw vegan or high carb raw vegan. It was like this whole, honestly, era. Whoever was really pioneering that, like they really made an impact. It really felt like it was just everywhere. And this was like people are eating like 20 bananas a day. And when I was, at the same time discovering what vegan even was, I was like, oh my gosh, not only do I not eat, dairy, butter, and eggs and all these things, I need to eat 27 mangoes for breakfast. Obviously, like that makes sense. Honestly, shout out to anyone who was friends or my family around me at that time, because I was living at my parents' house, literally buying like crates of mangoes. But honestly, like shout out to the whole raw vegan movement, because there's honestly so many like foods that I think I tried for the first time and different fruits. And it really showed me, if I have to take a positive out of that whole era, it really showed me how abundant you can eat and how many different diverse fruits and also how many different ways you can prepare vegetables. Like I know it sounds so silly, but it's funny. If you go back on my channel, if you go like what I eat in a day, what would this be, like 2015 maybe? You'll see I still was eating a lot of like fruit and vegetables just because I thought that was the way you had to do it to be healthy at that time. But it's really funny to see like the evolution of all that. And I don't know, it gets me thinking of the whole concept though of, oh my gosh, when you are 16 and just so impressionable, and if one person online who, seemingly looks healthier to be living a positive life or lives in the jungle and, in their 10-minute video seems to have like a really sunny and happy and healthy life, that you'll just be like, I'll buy into anything you say. I think I'm still that way. I still might fall victim to that. Like, I'm just like, okay, you've sold me. And I think that's a lot of what the internet did too at the time, or at least the portion that I was in. Like, maybe I really just was in my own echo chamber. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you'll comment if you were there with me. But that was a funny time. But it kind of got me thinking about this whole concept of, what I eat in a day videos. And I feel like there's even a new iteration of that with TikTok and what I eat in a day videos. And I've talked about this, like if you're an OG follower or like watch my what I eat in a day videos for a long time, I feel like I have talked about this concept a few times because it's something that I've really tried to be like, not like hypercritical of, but of course I always like to critique. I do try to reflect on what I'm doing and what impact it's having. And I mean, in a good way, I think I'm very conscious of my potential impact online, even if it's just like one person. There was really a period when I was like, is doing what I eat in a day videos generally positive? Like, is it doing more harm than it is good? Are what I eat in a day is damaging baseline, no matter what you're showing? And I don't have the answer to that, actually. I really don't. I know that with all of my videos, and my intentions are always pure. But that being said, intention does not necessarily equal impact. My fear sometimes is that for a long time I felt like all of you like love seeing these videos, and I would read all your comments. They were so meaningful, and people are sharing very like intimate and personal stories of whether they struggled with food or body image, and they were positively impacted with the way that I either speak about food or don't have a lot of I don't like emotions tied in my food. Anyways, things all along that line. And honestly, that's like very powerful to me, and it means a lot that people find comfort in my videos. For a long time, I honestly was like, I don't get it. Like, I just, like for me, the core of why I started even making what I eat in a day videos was when I was 16 and I was telling my whole family that I was eating vegan, and I lived in a small town and I didn't even know anyone else who was vegetarian, let alone vegan. People just like didn't get it, and they're like, well, what do you eat all day? And I was trying to convince them that it wasn't like some fad diet or some restrictive thing. And that was kind of the core. There just seemed to be a lot of interest, like for people in my everyday life being like, what is that? Like, what do you eat? And of course I would see trending like videos online, and I would look to those when I was first going vegan to even kind of like have references of different meals I could make and inspiration and things like that. So genuinely at its core, it was just to share what I was eating in a day. But hearing that it had like impact beyond that and was, again, positively impacting people's food habits or, body relationships and all these things like that, obviously is very meaningful. And it just kind of, I think, became a bit bigger than I ever meant it to, Yeah, sitting with the whole idea of, are what I eat in a day productive? Are they something that I want to like continue putting out in the world? Let me be clear, at my soul, like I am such a foodie through and through. I love cooking. I love eating good meals. I love going out to restaurants. Like I do just love and appreciate food so much, and different like dining experiences, and, like having dinner parties and having shared moments over meals. Like that is just it is a huge part of like who I am in my life. And I think I'll always like to share that and stuff. But when you see like the flip side of like what can be so bad about it, like it's easy for me to watch other people's videos or what I eat in a day videos, and they're telling other people how to eat, or they're telling people what's good or bad and what is healthy or unhealthy. And like that to me is I don't know, it feels like a bit of a slippery slope, and I don't want to be a part of any of that. And I've always, it sounds kind of cheesy, but to be like, I want to have a safe space or a place where like none of that is in my content. And yeah, I don't know. I just think like if the whole point, if really what my goal is to make people feel inspired with cool meal ideas or to encourage people to eat one more plant-based thing a day, or like, I don't even know, is that my goal? I like showing people that you can eat very filling and satisfying and nutrient dense and diverse foods all while being plant-based. And maybe I'm a bad vegan for this. I've been the first to say it. I'm probably the worst vegan out there. But like, I'm no medical professional. I don't know if you should be eating plant-based. I don't know if you should be like fully eating vegan. Who am I to say? Like, I'm just a girl. At my core, I am way more an action over words. Like, I'd rather just show you versus telling you. And I just try to truly lead my life. I try to live my life in a positive way that hopefully that inspires people more than me like telling you this is what you should do and la la. I think leading by example is always the most powerful thing. You know what I mean? Like when I see someone that is truly a happy person and who is living such a fun life, and I'm like, okay, I want to be like you because you're doing the thing. Like you are living the way that I want to live or try to live. I don't know, it's way more moving to me. But what's hard, and this is a whole other tangent now. It's like normally the people who yell the loudest and tell you exactly what to do, or like this is the best way to eat, or like this is how you should be eating, and this is the people that speak in such definitive, like I guess like concrete ways, and there's like no opportunity for nuance. I think that actually shows you maybe how much more skeptical you should be of them or what they're saying, because I feel like people who are, whether it be true experts about certain topics, they actually understand nuance and how things aren't definitive and there isn't like blanket statements you can really make, whether it be about diet or what you're eating and all these things. Like there's a lot of other variables that come into that. But then I guess in turn you have someone that sounds maybe less confident because they're speaking like, well, it could be this, depends on this, maybe your whatever, maybe your lifestyle habits or your budget, like all these different things that would impact the way you can eat or where you live and all these things. But then you have people that online maybe seemingly seem more confident because they're speaking in definitive, direct, strong ways that you're like, oh, that person obviously knows what they're talking about more, but actually they probably know less what they're talking about, because someone that actually knows what they're talking about would understand that you can't say things in such a concrete way. Do you know what I'm saying? That might not be completely relevant. That's just a separate topic. Maybe I'm getting too into the rabbit hole of people that I'm seeing online on TikTok thinking they know everything, and I think in some ways spreading damaging messaging. And I don't know. I think the food world is just so tricky, and a lot of people don't take up space in a way that they care about how it's going to impact others. But yeah, I mean, I guess the contrary, it's like that, if anything, should fuel me more to continue posting and doing what I'm doing, because the world takes all kinds. Yeah, ultimately, I don't know. I think if my goal is to make people, whether it be eat more intuitively and listen to their body and, you know, kind of eat what they feel like eating and be less rigid, and how does that even fit in then if I'm saying eat more plant-based because that's making you hyper-conscious or changing what you're eating? Yeah, eat intuitively, but eat vegan. Don't worry about what you're eating, but also make sure you've got a plant-based substitution. I don't know. Maybe I just think like the what I eat in a day slogan has like a negative connotation. Maybe it just needs a rebrand. Maybe that would make it sit better. But then also there's part of me like, I say all this, then I'm like, oh, well, screw it. I'm doing my own thing. Like, whatever. I like making the videos I like to make. If I want to show you what I'm eating, this is what I'm eating, babe. Like, sorry, you eat what you want to eat. It's funny. I felt like for a long time too, and this is kind of like down the train of thought of like being a perfect vegan and all that stuff. I will be the first to say it. I am not a perfect vegan. I even like sometimes I don't know. I'm sometimes even careful about like saying the vegan word. Like there was a time online where that just lumped you into a very specific category of people and like very judgmental or militant vegan kind of energy. And I'm like, I have never really been that. I mean, there was definitely a time like when I've discovered, you know, you learn about the lies in the dairy industry and how the food guides are funded by the meat and dairy industries and everything you've ever grown up to think was a lie. Like there is an era at first when you're just like, oh my gosh, like how is this allowed? And you realize it all comes down to dollar bills at the end of the day. And I feel like there's a certain point in kind of like, I don't know, everyone's life when you kind of realize that and you're like, the capitalist agenda. And so, I mean, yeah, there was definitely a point when I was more like, I feel like I discovered this truth and everyone needs to know. But then that wore off quickly in the sense that I was like, okay, ultimately, if my goal is to introduce people to more, plant-based, abundant foods, the best way to do it is to show them through like amazing meals versus like being like, do you know that they do this to cows and factory farming XYZ? Like that just doesn't feel, no one wants to get scolded. Like, let's be real. Like if someone was saying that to me and I wasn't there yet, I'd be like, well, now I hate you vegans even more. You're so annoying. Like, I get it. It's funny. Like, I feel like the whole root of what veganism is supposed to be is like based on compassion. There was a time, again, online, and I feel like this really only existed online. It's like, this is not real life, but people were missing compassion for other people. Oh, everyone just had something to say. There was one time I was still living in my like family home, and I was filming, it was like a recipe video or something, and my dad, who is not vegan, I don't know if it was like a yogurt in the fridge. I'd have to go back and look, but someone had commented this huge thing being like, how dare you have yogurt in your fridge? If you're a real vegan, you would make sure even whoever you're living with would not have that. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is why people are scared of vegans. Like, this is it. And I'm saying this as someone, I'm 10 years in, baby. Like, I get it. It's funny. People always ask too, especially now, I guess, celebrating my 10-year vegan anniversary. People will be like, have you ever broke it? Like, did you ever just like, screw it, I want this cake or whatever this thing is. And it's funny, weirdly, I've always said the food thing has always been the easiest for me. I think I was lucky transitioning into that when I was 15, 16, because I didn't really have, like, my food habits weren't very instilled at that age. Like, I never really thought about my food before that. It seemed like a very easy transition. And for me, it was always about just replacing things with plant-based alternatives versus like omitting things out of what I was eating. Also, like all the other alternatives that were like the vegan options always were satisfying and yummy to me. So I never felt like I was like truly depriving myself of anything. Whereas I think if that is your mindset or if that's how you feel, then like, yeah, it's obviously gonna be a lot harder. Like for me, like I genuinely didn't miss any of that. But that being said, like I eat a ton of amazing, delicious food and I'm so lucky for that. Yeah, so for me, the food thing was never really the hard thing, but there were 2 moments where I broke it. And at least 2 to my knowledge, like who am I to say? But I was pretty like, should I say a little intense about it? I like was like, very much so, and I still am to a degree. Like, I'm like, okay, let's treat it like an allergy. Like, I don't want you mixing spoons with that, meat dish and with mine. Like, I'd rather kind of keep it separate. But there was like a time where I'm like, I'm not eating at a non-vegan establishment. And it's like, okay, but you're hurting your own cause, babe. Like, the more you reward non-vegan businesses for having a vegan option, the more likely they're gonna make more of those options. You know what I mean? Of course I'm gonna eat a Beyond Burger at A&W, even though A&W serves 100% Angus beef patties. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like it was, I don't want to say unlearning, but there is like, it's almost like there's this like handbook at first. It's like how to be a good vegan. But yeah, I've definitely chilled out in my age. Okay, so the first time I think that I broke my veganism to my knowledge was maybe like 4 or 5 years in. This would have been around the I was doing a makeup competition and I was so excited about it and I was like so passionate and I had like a week to create this epic makeup look and I swear to God I hadn't slept for like probably 4 days. So know that when I'm telling this story, okay? I also was like 19 maybe. Maybe I was 20. Maybe I was older. I don't want to know. It gets embarrassing. I threw a tantrum. It wasn't my finest moment, but I was underslept baseline and I was overworked, okay? And I was a little high strung and I was living at my parents' place at this time and there was this one restaurant that they used to go to and I always found it a bit annoying because they never had like good vegan options, but apparently they had this like one pasta, but I was kind of getting annoyed because I was like, that's so boring. Why am I gonna pay $30 for this pasta dish? It's just like pasta with red sauce. Like it's not doing it for me. Long story long, my parents were out and they're like, hey, why don't we just pick you up some of that pasta for takeout? You probably haven't eaten yet. You've been working all day, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, fine. And my parents, so lovingly, my mother dropped this pasta off to my bedroom drawer. And I was like, it was one of those things where I was working at my desk. Like I wasn't even taking a break in the kitchen. So she drops off this little takeout container and I'm sitting eating at my desk. And I kind of look at the pasta. I was like, that's interesting. It's looking like a creamy rosé pasta. How bizarre for a non-vegan restaurant to offer a rosé vegan pasta dish. But also, I don't really question it. I take a couple bites, and then I'm like, you know what? That is really weird. There's no way, they have like an oat sauce or something? Like, what's going on here? So I go outside, like to the living room, and I go, Mom, is this normally the pasta? Like, I'm so shocked they have a rosé vegan pasta. And right away, she's like, oh no, babe. Babe, that's not the vegan pasta. What's the slogan? You're not you when you're hungry. This was not my finest moment. I started having like a mentee bee. I lost myself for a second. I was crying. I was like, ah. And I was like, I was pissed. I was like, of course this restaurant would give me non-vegan pasta, and I just ate it, and like, it was sickening. My parents felt so bad. Obviously, they were like, we're so sorry. Like, we didn't mean to do this. And I was like, I broke the veganism. And anyways, I lost myself for a night. It was not good. But then it happened again, not the same restaurant, but maybe must have been, I don't know, maybe that same year. It was a bad year for me. I was out at an all-inclusive resort, and they had these like coconut milk cocktails, whatever. So I was having some of those, and those ones were made with coconut milk. So I was telling the person like no dairy, whatever. And then they were serving us some like surprise shots or something. And as soon as like a little bit of it like hit my lips, I was like, that's Bailey's. That is not vegan. Anyways, so then I was like, there we go again. That was the stupidest thing to break it on. Forgive me because I have sinned. But those were my two moments where I was like, it happened. It was funny. At the time, I remember it being like devastating, which is, again, in hindsight, like so stupid. It's like I lived the first 14, 15 years of my life on this planet eating all of the things and eating non-vegan. It clearly didn't kill me before. You know what I mean? Like, why was that so devastating? But I think in your mind, it's like when you have like a spree going, you don't want to break it, you know? And it felt like I did, even though, again, it was like out of my control, and obviously it wasn't like intentional. And also it's just like, maybe I had some inward reflecting to do. If I placed so much moral value on me keeping that spree up, it's like, okay, but like it's more about like the intention. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not a bad person. And like that to me is almost where it's like borderline problematic, because it's like you eating one way or another doesn't make me a better or worse person. You know what I mean? And that applies to everyone else, you know? Like, what I've noticed, especially in my 10 years of eating vegan, whenever anyone finds out that I'm vegan, finds out as if it's a secret, as if it's not in my bio on Instagram. It's funny, in real life, I try to be low-key, I try to be chill, you know, go under the radar. But it's funny, I feel like a lot of people suddenly, I don't want to say fully projection, but maybe a little bit when they find out. And it's like, I'm not really saying anything about it. I'm not telling you how to eat. I would say, again, a pretty chill vegan. I feel no type of way. Like, of course, I'll go out to dinner with my friends and family and people who don't eat vegan. I personally don't feel any type of way if there's like a steak in front of me. Like, that's fine by me. I've always kind of lived by the motto of I'm not telling you how to eat, you don't tell me how to eat, like vice versa. Like, it's chill, we're good, all Gucci. Anyways, but yeah, as soon as it comes up, people will be like, oh my gosh, well, you know what, I tried it once, it just wasn't for me, I felt so sick. Or it's like I wasn't eating enough, or I can't do it, like the cheese, or what do you do about bacon? And all those things kind of come up. But then I'm wondering too, I'm like, am I giving off a vibe that makes you feel like you need to justify what you're doing? Like, truly live your life. But it's funny, I think food, what I've learned, and especially sharing food stuff online, is that food really is such a personal and honestly intimate thing to people, that people do feel, whether it's offended or they need to justify, and it really is kind of a like weirdly heated thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's as much as it is, I don't know, part of me, I feel like there was a time where it was a lot more of my identity. And I don't know if that's also, again, just coincides with those kind of formative years of growing up and you're a teenager and that's just how it is. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And I've been saying this to people lately too. I feel like not that the vegan movement is dying, because I'm sure statistically, if you were to look it up, I'm sure more people are vegan now than ever, or at least eating more plant-based now than ever. Is that true? Someone correct me on that. That's fully a guess. That being said, here in Toronto, a lot of vegan restaurants have been closing lately. That being said, we are also in a recession. So is it just a sign of the times? Is it that less people are eating out that are vegan? Is it that veganism is dying? I don't know. I do feel like it's become a little less of a trendy thing. I feel like, I don't know, it's like anything in life, whether it's like fashion or makeup or the food or the diet industry, like it all is trends and ebbs and flows. And I feel like we're kind of back in, at least again, what I'm seeing on my feeds, it's a lot more like farm to table, you know, grass-fed meat, whole milk, and high protein foods. And it's all waves. Is it not trendy to be vegan anymore? There was a time where it was like poppin'. Like 5 years ago, might have been its prime. What's interesting about even the whole vegan word is like there's so much greenwashing, I think, inherently tied to it. And I feel like as a society, even like in the beauty industry, greenwashing is so evident, like clean beauty, this is bad for you, none of this. And like people like to use big fancy schmancy words, fear mongering, all of these false illusions of doing things that are better for the planet, and they're like net zero emissions. And like there was a time when vegan leather was an alternative that, you know, I'd say I'd be looking for. But for me, that wasn't just necessarily about the actual material, meaning it had like not animal leather. It was either a recycled material or it was made out of like pineapple fibers or like something that was also not a bad material. But now it's like, okay, brands know that it's trendy. So they'll say, hey, this is a vegan bag, but really all it is just plastic. It's not in any way good for the environment. All this to say, the takeaway is that people are slapping the word vegan on things and people are thinking, oh, that must be better for the environment or a more ethical choice, but ultimately it really isn't. All vegan means is no animal byproduct. Doesn't mean it's good for the environment, you know? It's the same way that when it comes to food, okay, Oreos are vegan, not saying it's the most nutrient-dense food on the planet, you know what I mean? Vegan doesn't necessarily mean super, super healthy and nutritious. I guess also, too, it does come down to the consumer, though. Like, it does fall on... Does it fall on... No, honestly, I think big brands should have a responsibility to... Yeah, no, it's their fault. I'm correcting myself there. It's for sure their fault. Anyways, this was kind of all over the place. Maybe I should collect myself and make notes before I get started on videos. But I really just wanted this to be a little touch point and just to say hello. Also to say, oh my gosh, it's been 10 years. I can't believe I'm hitting my 10-year anniversary. I do really feel like we've got a really good little community going on, and I am very grateful for that. Anyways, I don't even know if that's where I wanted this direction of the video to go. If you want to see more videos like this, where I'm truly just sitting on the couch, and I hope tell me if you like this mic. It feels a little crazy having a mic on that makes it feel so formal, but I promise you it's not. But yeah, let me know, because I think ultimately, like right now, the era that I'm in is I just want to talk to you all. I just want to hang. I just want to hang with the girlies. I just want to catch up. You let me know if you're into this. Here are some other topics that I jotted down at 3 in the morning. You're not ugly. You're just broke. Not that I believe in that, but the whole concept of, you know, all these little modifications that people are doing behind the scenes and how damaging it is as a consumer of the content. Even like talking about things like with my veneers, I'm getting my 2 veneers redone right now. And I've had these 2 veneers since I was 12 years old. I had braces when I was, 12 as well. And it's funny how societally, maybe the veneers are a little less socially acceptable, but braces, which in my case were done purely for aesthetic reasons, to have straight, nice looking teeth, that is normalized. And if anything, like applauded. There's certain lines of whether it be body modification, plastic surgery, injectables, where it's like, okay, well, you should just be natural and embrace it. That whole concept, it's funny. Working in the beauty industry, being a makeup artist, I have so many thoughts. I've made tangents before. I've even posted some on YouTube, like videos talking about beauty filters, damaging beauty standards. I'm very, again, conscious of my impact that I have being in that space as well. But yeah, I think that could be a fun topic, talking about pretty privilege, money privilege, having access to plastic surgeries, fitting into the typically damaging Western beauty standards that we have, often Eurocentric focused. There's so many things I can dive into. And the thing is, it's funny, I feel like I am actually in real life, like if you know me, if you're my friend, if we're hanging out, I'm a pretty passionate and expressive person. I'm intense, and not to say that I've like ever really dialed myself down for the internet, but I've been always very aware of my digital footprint. And especially growing up, being very aware that I was like 17 making all these videos online. Like I was like, I want to be intentional about what I'm saying, and I don't know, I knew that I still had a lot of like growing up to do and like life to experience. So I feel like I was in a way, I don't want to say, yeah, I don't know, like pulling back is not the right word, but to a degree, sure. I don't want to share everything. There's some more topics that I have on here. I'm gonna sit and marinate in those. I really popped off at 3 in the morning. I don't know what inspired all that. But yeah, feels good to be back. Sorry that I've been a little MIA from the long form here on YouTube, but I post every single day on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram. So if you're missing some Jaclyn, follow me on Instagram or TikTok. Those are easier to show you kind of what I'm getting up to in my everyday life. Whereas with these like long form videos, I feel like that's more where you get like a peek inside of my brain versus just what I'm like doing, you know what I mean? But yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Send this to a friend that you think would enjoy it. You know what's really funny? I feel like a lot of people don't realize how helpful and impactful having a strong community is, but no, it's really so impactful. Like power of even word of mouth, like you telling your bestie who you think would like my videos to watch my videos or to tune in, like that actually is so game changing and means so much to me, and it's actually very helpful. So tell a friend. But yeah, I hope you're all doing good, and I'm excited to see you all in the comments. I'll be replying back. I missed you all. I hope your 2024 is off to a good start, and you know what? I'm just rooting for you. I just am. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'll hopefully see you all soon. Love you all. Bye.